Welcome to another edition of CliffHangers. My name is Deb Wiegers, part to Wiegers Financial Benefits, and I'm here to introduce John Covello with us, a colleague in the same industry that I work in, which is a group employee benefits. And we got into some interesting conversations because as we started talking about the impact of benefits and what we're seeing with respect to rising healthcare costs, and a huge part of that is coming from, unfortunately, mental health and what that really means when you start to break it down. And both of us agreed that there's a large part of that is into bullying or cyberbullying or social media bullying with the teenagers and children of today's society. And if anybody's a parent or a cousin or an uncle or an aunt, they will well know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
And there is a feeling of concern, of helplessness, and there'd be something that we want to work on, I believe, that would be towards solutions that would help people identify and work with these types of situations, because it's just a growing program. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you have to share.
Sure. That's a great lead-in. I mean, mental health is the costs of it are skyrocketing in our business, and it's so hard to quantify it. Bullying has not really come into the forefront as being a major source of it, but when you look at it, you start stripping back the layers, it's actually responsible for a lot of mental health issues, and not just to the individual being bullied, it's throughout the entire family unit. And that's where it really starts to get interesting from a cost perspective, because, you know, if you look at drug benefits and you look at counseling, things like this that cost money, that affect the plans, they affect the business owners in a great way. You look at it, and bullying definitely plays a role in it, and that's what we're trying to identify. So, you know, the conversation we had, we both agree that it's a problem, and I think there's not very many people that would disagree with that. It is a problem, but there doesn't seem to be any real solutions out there. So one of the things that, you know, we're working towards trying to come up with some solutions collaboratively, that how can we bring something to our benefit programs that would actually identify it and help the individuals that are going through it.
Well, and what I find is that it seems to be, unfortunately, common table talk when I'm working with friends, and it's that feeling of helplessness. And we don't know where to go with it, and
Right.
and as parents, we don't know even how we would approach the situation, and that's what my clients and my colleagues are telling me, is like, you know, because we don't know how to really be there first at hand for the child. So I think that there's a huge need for a component in the health programs that would be there, because we're seeing it with respect to costs on the benefit programs, no doubt. We're seeing it with respect to, when I deal with a lot of my clients on the HR side,
Right.
Presenteeism, because they're at work and what they're thinking about is what's going on at home and how they can't be there for that child. And obviously, absenteeism.
That's a great
So,
point. 'Cause
so it's a much
yeah.
bigger picture.
It is, and when you start looking at that, what that actually does to the productivity in a company, it's not only from the cost side of what it's costing the benefit plan, but it's also costing its productivity to that organization. So it starts to compound. The problem is much larger than we actually think that it is, and unfortunately, nothing really concrete is being done about it. There's campaigns and don't bully, and, you know, zero tolerance policies and things like that. But I think we're undershooting it dramatically on both sides of what the actual cost is, and also on what we're doing to prevent it. There's really no preventative tools in place that make sense, and that's what we're looking at working on.
Yeah.
So,
And we know that the one piece of equipment that children will not let go of, and it's our biggest problem, is the phone. And so with that, how do we be there to see what's going on? So we have
Right.
to, I guess for lack of better words, have eyes in the back of our head, and we have to have that sixth sense. So if we do get to that point and we're taught how to deal with it or detect it, now we need to know how we can help them through that process.
that's right.
As well.
When we grew up, the telephone in the house was kind of the gatekeeper in the house. Basically, anybody who wanted to get a
And it
hold
was
of you
attached to the wall.
was attached to the wall in the kitchen. So if the phone rang and you didn't know who was going to answer it, it could be the parents, could be a brother, sister. Nobody had a clue. So you really, that was kind of the gatekeeper of it. I don't say preventing access to the house, but at least monitoring the access that people had to your kids. Today, our kids are exposed 24/7, 365 days a year. You can't take their cell phones away from them because you ostracize them in their friendship groups. It's the
Yes.
way that they communicate.
Absolutely.
So it's scary. It definitely is something that we're looking at addressing and working on. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about that more in the future.
Well, I'm looking forward to the conversations. I mean, I think that there is a great opportunity to be there. for us as parents and the colleagues and the clients that we work with. And it's a work in progress, because it'll be one of those things that will always continue to evolve. And so
Right.
I'm excited to continue those good discussions.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Thanks, John, for joining us.
Thank you.